Hey guys! It's been a couple months since my last video. Quite a while, eh? So I figured it was time for an update on my aquariums. So let's get into it. First, let's start off with my smallest tank, a planted 10-gallon that I've set up in my bedroom. The lighting on this aquarium is just simple white and blue LEDs. Not powerful lighting by any means, but it grows most of the plants, and that's fine by me. They're on for about 10 hours a day. For filtration, I have two hang-on back filters by Tetra. They're both rated for 10-gallon tank each, and they get the job done. Now, onto the plants. I have a few species in here, some doing better than others. Here, we have Cryptocorini wenti. This plant seems to do so well in my water. I don't know what it is about it, but it grows like crazy. Not that I'm complaining, quite the opposite actually. Behind the crypts, we have Rotala rotundifolia. These plants aren't doing too well in this tank, to be honest. Their growth has slowed down almost to a stop, and I'm seriously considering moving them back into my main tank to try to get them to start growing better again. I honestly miss the pink color they got when they were in that tank. I felt like they clashed with the look I was going for in the main tank though, so that's why I moved them in here. But anyways, moving on to the next plant. Next, we have the only epiphyte plants I have in here, and I don't know why, but they never really do well in my water, and it shows. I'm trying to get them to bounce back, and it's kind of working. These are my Anubias nanas and my Java fern, though it's hard to tell since they're so beaten up. For some reason, the leaves always end up curling and just looking bleh. I read that they do that due to having too much light, so I moved them from my larger tank to this one, and the leaves that are coming in are looking healthier than before, but I still have noticed some curling despite the light being quite dim. If anyone has any suggestions, throw them at me please. Down here we have some good old Christmas moss. I've had this moss since I started the hobby. It was one of the first plants I bought, and I'm honestly surprised I have as much of it as I do. Now this isn't all of it. Most of it's in my main tank. I don't think this light is cutting it though for the moss, because it's not growing as fast as the others. But that's alright. I don't want to have to hack it back a lot every time. Now the last plants we have in here are down below. There's some dwarf Sagittaria and Cryptocorini parva. This stuff is not growing because it's having trouble getting established. The little bottom dwellers in here go bonkers at night, and I always have to replant one or two of the plants in the morning. One day I'll get that carpet I've always wanted, I swear. Now, if you're curious about the substrate, it isn't anything special. Just some sea chem fluorite mixed with random gravel and some root tabs placed in it here and there. Now, as for who's living in here, we have some celestial pearl danios. There are about 6 in here, and these guys are about a year or two old now, give or take. Next up, we have some coolie loaches, of which I have 6, and there are also some java loaches in here as well. These little buggers are the ones that uproot my dwarf sag and my Cryptocorini parva, but I have to admit, I do love my noodles. I also have 2 Amano shrimp in here, a male and a female. I love these little guys, and once I get my other 40-gallon up and running, I'm gonna buy a bunch more. Last but not least in this tank is my newest addition, a double-tail half-moon beta who I've named Dimitri. The maintenance on this tank isn't a lot. I simply clean the glass, do a 50% water change once a week, and dose my fertilizers afterwards. And that's pretty much it. Once a month I'll give the sponges and the filter a rinse with old aquarium water, but that's all I do to it besides the occasional trim of a leaf or two. All in all, this is an easy little tank, and I love rolling over to look at it first thing in the morning, as it's right next to my bed. Now, let's look at the main display tank in my living room. This is my largest and my most favorite tank. It's a 40-gallon long, and right now I am just loving how it looks. Just like the 10-gallon, we are going to start off with lighting. I have a Phoenix Planet Plus 24/7 on here, and honestly, I wish I'd gotten this light from the very beginning, because it's amazing. I have never had better plant growth. I won't go into detail about it because there are plenty videos on the light already, but this is such a good little light, and I especially love the various color settings for the time of day. It's fun coming out here and always seeing my tank look just a little bit different. But here's a quick run through of how the light changes throughout the day. As you can see, night to dawn, to midday, afternoon, evening, and finally nighttime again. Like the 10-gallon, these lights are on for about 10 hours a day. This is a great light, and I honestly recommend it. Next up is my filters. Again, I have hang-on backs on here, and again by Tetra. These are both rated for a 50-gallon aquarium. But anyways, let's talk about plants now. Again, I have Cryptocorinne Wenti in here. This plant just does amazingly well, so I have a lot of it. It propagates like crazy. The next plant is Amazon Sword. This plant is doing so much better since I put it in this scape. The leaves are looking healthier than ever, and I'm hoping I'll get a nice big bunch of it right in the middle of the sand here. Scattered about the tank are various patches or clumps of Christmas moss. This stuff is loving the new light and has been growing bright green and vibrant. I'm loving how it's starting to look on the rocks, and I'm hoping it'll cover this log nicely too. Another plant in here is what's left of my water wisteria. This plant grows no matter what, at least in my experience. I threw a lot of it away a while back when I had an algae outbreak and most of it got infested with it. But I know I'll have more of this stuff in no time. This plant isn't staying here permanently though. It will be going into the other 40-gallon I'll be setting up eventually. This is just the only place I could fit it at the moment. Again, the substrate in this tank is Seachem Fluorite Black, with some root tabs added in for extra nutrients. The sand here is sand I collected from my local beach. But that's it for the plants, so let's get on to the fish. Starting on the bottom, we have a few different types of Corydoras in here. We have our 4 albinos, our 2 peppers, and our 3 nanas. They all like to hang out together and do their little Corydora things. Funny little buggers. Now going up into the water column, we have one of my favorite fish, the emperor tetra. These guys are just as old as my pleco, and they're still so beautiful. I love the way they display to one another, and the way they flick their fins when they're moving. Just a beautiful fish, in my opinion. Up next, swimming right alongside the emperors, are my harlequin rasboras. These guys are fun to watch swimming back and forth in the tank. It gives me a little happy feeling watching them shoal together. I honestly want more to see if they'd shoal even better. I'm even considering getting the black or purple variant. I have about 10 of them in total. I also have 2 white cloud mountain minnows that are left over from a larger group I had, and 1 neon tetra that is the last of the group he came from. I don't plan on getting any more of these guys in the future. I have never had luck with neon tetras, but I wouldn't mind trying the white clouds again sometime. Then, last up in here are 2 Siamese algae eaters, which are doing a great job at getting rid of any algae they happen to find. One of them will be moving out of here and going into the other 40 gallon in the future, since I've been noticing a little bit of bullying going on now and then. I also have a handful of assassin snails in here to help control the pond snail population. Also a bottom dweller, we have Finley, my bristlenose pleco. I've had this guy for about 3 years now, I think, and I hope to have him for more years to come. I love his little nose. The last fish in here is the one everyone notices first, and that's Gabrielle, my gold marbled angelfish. He is about 2 years old now, and full of attitude, and I love him. To be completely honest, he was an impulse buy, which is naughty, I know, but he does so well in here, and comes to greet me when I walk by the tank. He's a cutie, and I love that he has 2 different colored ventral fins. Maintenance on this tank is pretty easy as well. Like the 10 gallon, it gets the glass cleaned and a 50% water change once a week. And at the same time, it'll get a dose of fertilizer. Then once a month, I'll clean out the filter and sponges. That's all there is to it. These are the only 2 aquariums that I have currently set up, and I love them both. I am in the process of getting things ready for setting up another 40-gallon tank in my living room, but that's still a ways away. For now, I'll just enjoy the beautiful fish and plants I have. Anyways, I think I'll call an end to the video now. If you guys have any suggestions, questions, or ideas, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. Thank you for watching, guys. Toodles!